I can't believe this. I'm almost desensitized to it that another man has died by suicide with a seemingly great life. This guy was an NBA player. He's like actually living out my childhood dream. He's got money, he's got skill, he's got people watching him and cheering him on, and yet no longer being alive seemed like the best choice for this person. Now, I don't know any details about what their life is like. I'm just talking about from the outside. And I see this as a stark reminder of how much our outside life does not dictate how we feel on the inside. And so many of us keep going to work on changing the outside of our life, on changing how we're perceived, on changing what we have, and yet still feeling inadequate, unfulfilled, and obviously in such mental pain that suicide felt like the best idea. I totally get why people kill themselves. I was suicidal at one point in my life. And it's not that I wanted to die. I just wanted to stop feeling the pain I was feeling, and not being alive seemed like the only way to do that. Thankfully, I reached out to someone I could confide in. They told me to go to a mental health clinic, which I was lucky enough that that kind of thing even existed. I spoke to a nurse, an amazing nurse, for an hour, and a little crack of the door opened up that maybe I could be okay. Or maybe I could just last a little longer. Then I got a therapist, showed up to that, and the door cracked open a little further. And then I got a coach, and then I started to evolve and grow. And if I was to stand here and tell the previous version of myself that your dreams are going to come true and life's going to be amazing, I wouldn't have believed it. People in that state can't believe that because the pain is just so intense. I started a men's group last year because I found out a guy I played basketball with in university killed himself. And I couldn't believe it because this guy was such a great guy. Like, it's like, again, from the outside looking in, it's like he was funny and charming and talented and he had a family, and it's like, wow, what a bunch of great things to live for. But of course, I have no idea of what's going on inside. So I started this men's group because I can see the slippery slope that leads to that. I totally get it. And if we can catch it before we let those dominoes fall into suicide being a good idea, or if we can have some kind of support like I had to pull ourselves out of that hole, well, a whole lot of really great things about life can become possible. So I started that men's group last year, and I quickly ended it because I was discouraged about how few people showed up. I was shocked that with hundreds of thousands of followers, I could only get 5 or 6 people to show up to speak and talk about life as a man. Well, I've done a lot of soul searching this past year and a lot of different things. And I've come to discover that isn't about me. And it's just a reminder that this is a really big problem worth going to work on. This problem of isolation. And I'm going to not stop talking about it. I'm going to talk about my community and coaching and everything I can think of that's going to help people climb themselves out of a hole they're in or into a level of life they didn't know was possible, because people have done that for me. And it's so worth it. So we've got a men's group again in my Connection House community. I'm actually leading it tomorrow. We've already got a men's group scheduled for next month as well. I'm committed to ending this whole men against women nonsense. And I get how being a man right now can be very confusing, and I'm hoping being in this group, we'll be able to establish our own rules for being a man. That it won't be like the past, but it also won't be what other toxic people are telling us to do. That we'll actually establish that on our own terms, that we feel really good about. Now, a men's group is just one of the things we do in this community. We've got a women's group, we've got special recordings on trauma. People in the group get complete access to my signature course. We do live sessions on goal setting, clarity, integrity, living life with purpose, even self-regulation techniques for when we get triggered. My personal favorite is the communication role play sessions that I lead. So if you resonate with any of this, you want to be part of the men's group or any of these other sessions, I offer complimentary access for 2 weeks. You can test it out for 2 weeks. And if you like it, you can stick around for $47 a month. And if you don't, you can leave. So I encourage you to give this a try. Showing up is one of the hardest parts to changing anything. But if we can just show up a little bit, It has a funny way of building momentum for us, just like the example of my own life that I gave earlier. You don't even have to believe that your dreams are possible. That's too massive to try to put on yourself. I think it's much more valuable to focus on the gradual game, the step-by-step process. It's less intimidating. So whether you're in a really dark place or you want to elevate to a new place, comment skills below and I'll send you access for a free trial for the Connection House. I invite you to step into a new environment.